This is the gospel according to the IRS, Breaking Points and Church Financial Updates. And now, here's the authority, Dr. Michael Chitwood and Breaking Points.
Michael Chitwood, welcome today to Breaking Points and Financial Updates. We concluded the program yesterday with a statement, and I've had so many people to make a comment, a good comment about it, not bad. And I said this: what you make happen for someone else, God will make happen for you. I believe that with all of my heart. In fact, I'll tell you, I believe it so much that we try to sow into all of our ministries that we represent. The question that I have for you, you need to be careful about who you let put their feet under your dining room table. And you also need to check and see if your CPA attorney has sown any tithes and offerings into your ministry. Could it be that maybe he doesn't believe in what you're doing to the extent he's not willing to support it? Today I want you to take your pad to continue on from yesterday's program. We were talking about your corporate minute book and what goes into that minute book. And it's important that we understand that with that, there's many components. I want to begin with number 5, and that is release of liability from church professional guidance services. Now, we know that you can't call it counseling anymore, but we know that the church gives huge amounts, colossal amounts, extraordinary amounts of counseling. Sometimes it's done telephonically, and sometimes it's done live, one-on-one. I can remember years ago out in California that a church where my uncle used to go to, he was one of the main officials at Paramount Studios, Vernon Chitwood, and he worked there for all of his life, just about all of his life. He's a very, very, very important man with Paramount Studios. The church that he attended out there, a very famous case, and that's where that a young man, a 19-year-old kid, came in and was receiving some counseling from the pastor. And after he had received counseling, it was a scheduled appointment, the young man went out and committed suicide. It's a very famous case. And of course, they sued the church, and it was in the courts for years. And the whole point of this story is that you need to make sure that everybody that comes in understands that counseling is done, and the counseling that we do there is based on the Word of God. In other words, you can't give legal counseling. You cannot give financial counseling. You cannot give tax counseling if you do not have credentials in those areas. So on this liability release form, and by the way, it's on page 198 in the National Manual, if you want to turn to that, at the bottom of the page down there, it says that this, I, the undersigned, hereby understand that this counseling with the ministerial staff is neither legal, medical, or psychological, but purely based upon the Word of God. Now that pretty well covers you. I want them to sign that, and by the way, it requires a witness there, and that will help you tremendously. Will it keep somebody from suing you? No, it won't. But it will give them a clear understanding when they walk in the door for their counseling that this here is going to be a statement that's going to be a part of the corporate records. That's what we do at this church. The last point that I'd like to bring to your attention is one of the most important things, and that's the liability release form from all claims. Today, the church has to have a lot of activities for the young people and the youth of the church. I'm not talking about coming to the church and washing cars on Saturday as a youth ministry. That's not a very good youth, that's a youth work program there. I am going to talk to you about a youth ministry that deals with a youth center where you can get grant funds a little bit later on in the segments. But this is a liability release form when they go on a skating trip, a boating trip, a fishing trip, a skiing trip, any type of church activities. And that's not just for the young people, by the way. That's also for the young people. It's for the men. If men have softball games, they have bowling trips or whatever they do these days. And then women have women ministry things. I want everybody in the church to sign off on this. And what I like about this is this. It says, in consideration for being accepted by church to participate in this trip, I do hereby release, forever discharge, and agree to hold harmless the church, the directors, the trustees, the elders, the deacons from all liability, claims, or demands for any personal injury, sickness, or death. It also goes on here, and it says that in the event that someone is hurt, that you agree that they can receive medical treatment if they can't get in touch with the parent or the guardian. Now, What is this? This is a document here that protects the church. Now, here's what I want to point out to you. Understand, ladies and gentlemen, and my brothers and sisters, that your church is nothing but a business. I know it's God's business. I know it's a spiritual part. I know all of that, and I'm not trying to make light of that or take that for granted. But what I'm trying to point out to you is simply this, is that it is a business. You have to run it like a business so you can stay in business. We have a lot of people on boards. We have a lot of plumbers on church boards who are great plumbers, but they don't know anything about the legal nonprofit side or the legal accounting side or the finances of running a corporation. So therefore, when you have this signed, it says, the undersigned further consents to the administration of first aid and of doctor's care. This is the greatest liability release form because not only does it release the church directors, elders, deacons, and trustees, but it also allows you for all the other benefits. This, by the way, is on page 205 in the National Manual. If you want to purchase that National Manual, I think you need it. It's full of blank forms. It's full of information. It's 440 pages. If you want that, you call the offices of Church Management and Tax Conference, and that number is 1-800-345-9117. If you want just that page, we'll give that page to you free because this is a ministry here. But if you want the entire book of forms, which, by the way, has been updated every year for the last 32 years, updated every year. It's the nation's standard. Some people have tried to copy it, and you'll probably try to copy it. All you have to do is take some liquid paper and white out the page number and my name at the bottom that says Michael Chitwood Seminars, and make you 50 copies, and you've got it for the rest of your life. Do we have a problem with that? I do not have a problem with that because we're all in this for the same thing, and that is to build up people, edify people. And remember, what you help make happen for somebody else, God will help make happen for you. Until next time, this is Michael Chitwood, and I will see you on Breaking Points.
Breaking Points gives you the latest IRS updates and tax law. Pastor, if the IRS came to your church today, what would you say? If you really want your house of worship in order, call 1-800-345-9117.